and welcome to today's live session. Today, we're exploring recognizing emotional exhaustion and how personal relationships impact you. Now, over the past couple of weeks, I've been sharing on how easy it is to become emotionally overinvested in our personal relationships. This overinvestment can leave us feeling emotionally exhausted, often without understanding the why behind it. Today, I'll be talking about the signs you should watch for when you're worn out, you're on your last nerve, and you're feeling emotionally exhausted. My purpose today is to help you recognize these signs before you reach your breaking point and guide you in reflecting on and discovering the reasons behind why you feel the way you do. Hi, I'm Leslie Cadet, self-care strategist for female entrepreneurs. I specialize in systems that transform daily stress and constant overwhelm into clarity and calm, and all while creating space for that personal fulfillment that you're looking for, ensuring you're present for your life's important moments, both in your business and beyond. Now, through my own self development journey, I have shared that I have learned along the way that successfully managing your personal and professional life involves ongoing growth and learning, because learning is growing. And today I want to continue the conversation and share how recognizing and addressing emotional exhaustion in your relationships can significantly enhance your life. So, over the past few weeks, I've shared about my own recent experience around emotional burnout. In that, after the passing of my youngest brother back in September of 2023, I found myself over the past 8 months emotionally burning myself out because I was investing all of my energy on the needs of others. It wasn't until I finally hit my rock bottom moment where I was stopped in my tracks and I had to take time to recharge my batteries. Again, it wasn't a maybe I can stop to recharge. It was I had no choice to stop and recharge because I was emotionally burnt out and my body and my mind were screaming at me, it's time to stop. My story is not unique to me alone. Through my market research calls, I've learned that this is a common phenomenon, but most of the time we look at burnout as having to be work related. But it is just as real when you're emotionally burning out and you have the symptoms and the signs are there to warn you. And the reason why I'm so determined to share with you about this, so that you don't, number one, feel like you're all alone on an island by yourself going through what you're going through. And number two, so that you know that there are actual signs that you can become aware of so that you can help yourself from having to experience emotional burnout ever or again. So let's get into it. So, some signs and symptoms of emotional exhaustion are ones I've talked about on previous lives, but are very important to repeat here today. So, the first one is feeling drained. It's one of the most common signs of emotional exhaustion, and that is persistent tiredness. It's that deep sense of fatigue that doesn't seem to go away, even after a good night's sleep, even being intentional about getting a good night's rest. This kind of tiredness isn't just physical, it's emotional and it's mental. So when you're emotionally exhausted, your body feels heavy and your mind feels foggy. You can't concentrate. You wake up tired and you go to bed tired, and as if there's this constant weight pressing down on you. Now, the negative impact is that if it's not addressed, this persistent exhaustion can lead to decreased productivity and a significant drop in overall quality of life. You may find yourself withdrawing from activities and relationships, which can further exacerbate feelings of isolation, even depression. So, the positive flip side to that is when you do take time to address these issues, the symptoms that you're having around emotional exhaustion, and taking steps to manage and reduce it, the feelings of being drained, and taking time to actually recharge your battery, that can lead to increased energy levels because you are taking care of you. You're making yourself a priority, and that'll improve your productivity. And you'll have a more positive outlook on life. You'll find yourself more engaged and more present in your daily activities, both personally and professionally. Now, the second one is increased irritability, which is another key sign. When you're emotionally exhausted, your patience wears thin really quickly. You might find yourself snapping at people over small things that wouldn't normally bother you at all. And you'll find yourself even causing disagreements or arguments around things that have nothing to do with what's actually happening around you at the moment. But because you're in this state of mind, you are irritable and this is just how it is. This is how you're responding, and you can't seem to help yourself. The problem here is that this irritability can strain your relationships, again, both personally and professionally. Again, when it comes to personal relationships, you might find it a lot easier to manage and mend those relationships. But professionally, if this is your MO constantly over time, it can be very hard to mend those relationships because they don't have that invested emotional attachment or connection to you. The problem also, you find yourself reacting negatively to minor inconveniences or even feeling frustrated with your loved ones and your colleagues. And over time, those trivial matters that really, those trivial things that don't even matter become bigger than they need to be, than they even should be. The negative impact is if you don't address this, it can lead to, again, those damaged relationships, increased conflict, a sense of guilt and frustration. And over time, it can also contribute to stress related health issues like high blood pressure, heart disease. It's because it's the stress. Stress is such a huge reason for people going to the doctor because of stress from work, stress from personal life. And so it's really that this is something you really should be paying attention to, especially if you want that quality of life. Because when you do address your irritability issues by getting to the root cause and finding ways to manage your stress better, practicing patience with yourself and with others. I know that's going to be hard, but it's intentional. It can improve your relationships and create a more harmonious environment. It can lead to better communication, stronger connections, and an overall sense of well-being. Now, the third one is emotional disconnection. It's another sign to watch for because when you are emotionally exhausted, you might start to feel detached from your own emotions and from the people around you, possibly isolating yourself or hiding from others so that you don't have to talk about how you feel, which in turn you believe will protect you from being judged. The problem is that this detachment can make it really difficult to connect with others on a meaningful level. You might even feel like you're just going through the motions. You're not fully engaged with life or the people in it or in your life. And if you don't address this, being emotionally disconnected can lead to feelings of loneliness, isolation, where you're feeling like you're all alone on an island, even when you're not physically alone, which can result in decreased satisfaction in your relationships and a higher risk for depression. However, when you address this by reestablishing emotional connections, reaching out, allowing others to be in your life to help you, it can enhance your relationships and improve your emotional health. You'll feel more engaged and connected with those around you, leading to a greater sense of fulfillment and happiness. I cannot stress how important it is to ask for help. Do not allow yourself to go out all alone on an island by yourself. Do not isolate yourself because that just leads to that loneliness that can lead to hopelessness, depression, right? And you don't feel like you matter. You just feel like giving up. That's when it's so crucial for you to reach out to people and tell them what you're going through. Get that support. It's so important. Now, the fourth one is diminished motivation, or lack of motivation, another way to say it. You might struggle to find energy or desire to do activities that you once enjoyed. And when your motivation is low, even tasks that used to excite you can feel like a chore. And that can lead to procrastination, a sense of stagnation in both your personal and professional life. You end up in that start stop mode of doing things, possibly losing that momentum and having to start over again and over again and over again. And I don't know if you've ever been there before. I've been there a few times, especially way back in the beginning of my coaching business when I was on a perpetual hamster wheel and having the stop, start, because I was getting emotionally exhausted, physically and emotionally exhausted, mentally exhausted, all of it. And it's because I was doing so many things and I was in that busy work. And that's for another discussion, but really it does tie into it. Now, if you don't address this, it's going to result in it most likely will result in missed opportunities, reduced performance. You end up in that again start stop mode of doing things. You have a lack of personal growth. It can lead to a cycle of procrastination, low self esteem, which makes it so much harder to stay on task and achieve your goals. However, when you do address this, your low motivation, by setting small, achievable goals, finding ways to rekindle your interest in activities that help restore your drive and enthusiasm, it can really lead to that increased productivity, personal satisfaction, and a sense of achievement. Now, the fourth one is trouble sleeping. I've talked about rest. I think sleep is so important. I did a year-long study. I talked about it in the beginning of the year. I did a video about it in the beginning of the year about this year-long study that I did about my sleep habits and how important it was for me to pay attention to it, because I found some incredible insights from it, knowing like how like my positioning of my sleep, and how to set myself up for a good night's rest as far as like the temperature in the room. I even have a sleep mask to make it. I mean, even though it's dark, it just adds that an extra layer of feeling like I'm really cocooning myself and getting ready for rest. And I did a year-long study, and I found that I was sleeping better, my mood was better, I'm like making up with more energy. Um, Even though, and as I said, over the past 8 months, I did find in some of that I did have some of the emotional things happening. I still was still able to manage those restful sleeps. However, I did end up again, as I said, in emotional burnout, and that's why I'm coming to you these last few weeks and talking about it, because I really truly lived it. I've talked to other people who've lived this, and I really want to be able to help you to avoid some of the things that I experienced, other people have experienced, so that you have that quality of life and you're not, all over the map. You're not frustrated, and ending up in a place where you don't want to be. So again, getting back to trouble sleeping, this can leave you again feeling fatigued and irritable, is because you are not getting the rest, is it's going to affect your physical and your emotional well-being, because again, you're not getting enough sleep. Your body, your mind can't recharge, and that leads to increased stress and fatigue and trouble concentrating and focusing on the things that you do daily. And if you don't address this, your sleep issues could lead to chronic health problems, a weakened immune system, weight gain, perhaps because of the things that you're eating, because you're not taking care of your nutrition. You don't feel like it, you just don't care. That lack of sleep can also impair your cognitive function, affecting your ability to concentrate and make decisions. So that's why it's so important to address your sleep issues by establishing a regular sleep routine, practicing good sleep hygiene, having a hard stop to your day so that you can unwind and prepare for a good night's rest. And in so doing, improve your overall health and well-being, because better sleep leads to increased energy levels, improved mood, and better cognitive function. Now, the last one is the physical fatigue, which is another common symptom of emotional exhaustion, where you feel sluggish, finding routine tasks difficult. Your body feels like it's constantly running on empty and making you feel it's difficult to keep up with your daily responsibilities and maintain a healthy lifestyle. And if you don't address this, physical fatigue can lead to a sedentary lifestyle where you're not doing anything at all. Again, getting back to that possible weight gain, because maybe you're an emotional or stress eater. So you're eating all the wrong things, or you're eating too much, or you're eating things that mindlessly when you're not even hungry. It can also exacerbate the feelings of emotional exhaustion, which creates that cycle of declining health and well-being. However, when you do address physical fatigue and incorporating regular physical activity, ensuring you get adequate rest, that can boost your energy levels and improve your overall health. And it can also enhance your mood and reduce stress. So emotional exhaustion is serious. It can significantly impact your well-being. And this is just the third stage of the four stages that I'm talking about of emotional burnout. And even I got to this stage, and somehow I still didn't recognize it. I didn't pay attention because I was so in the doing of other things and trying to get things done. I was just not paying attention. But when you recognize these signs and symptoms early, so that you can take those proactive steps to manage your health, and address these and notice these indicators and address them. You can improve your relationships, you can increase your productivity, enhance your overall quality of life, have more energy. This is important, and it keeps you from being in that burnout phase that you find yourself in, especially if you find yourself in it. Or you can, again, if you pay attention from the beginning, understanding that this is the type of person that you are. You're a giving person to the people in your life. And okay, how do I manage my energy and time so that I'm not giving it all away without replenishing it? Okay, that's the main goal here, the main focus. So one tip to manage emotional exhaustion, is I want to share a tip around how how we talk about how I was talking about isolating yourself. I don't want you to do that, because again, it's common to withdraw, to isolate yourself, again, which can further deepen the exhaustion and the disconnection. So when you reconnect with yourself and others, that's crucial for overcoming the emotional exhaustion. So, becoming mindful of what's going on in your life, what you're doing, and then asking for help, building and maintaining connections that support you, people in your life. I truly believe that community is a powerful self-care tool that we can all tap into, and it can provide that support you need during your challenging times. So having that circle of people in your life, having that community that supports you when you're going through things in your life is crucial. It's a self-care tool. There's so many self-care tools out there that people don't even realize. So here's a simple strategy around this. Okay, first, I want you to acknowledge your feelings, because maybe you're feeling disconnected. And so acknowledge it without judgment. It's important to recognize and validate your emotions rather than suppressing them. Because, if you say that, oh, I'm stupid, I shouldn't be feeling this way, why did I allow myself, and you beat yourself up, all that does is just makes you feel worse and worse. So acknowledge it without judgment. No, this is where you're at. It's okay. Even journaling it out, allow it, getting everything out of your brain about what you're thinking and what you're feeling, based on what you're thinking, will allow you to express your thoughts and feelings freely when you journal it out. And that way you can just, again, acknowledge it. Don't judge, just acknowledge. The second one is, again, as I was saying, community. Reach out to trusted people in your life. Identify a few trusted friends or family members you feel comfortable talking to, a community where you have people in that community that might, some sort type of support community that you're part of. Maybe there's people in there that you're friendly with. Reach out to them and see if they can support you. Reaching out to someone, again, can provide that sense of relief and remind you that you are not alone. Even a simple message or phone call can make all the difference in the world. Also, keep in mind that when you have these conversations, that it's important for you to share what you're hoping to gain. So if you're looking for advice, or you're looking for guidance, or you're just looking for someone to listen to you, that's really important for you to say up front, because nobody can read your mind. And it's really important so that the person that you reach out to knows how to support you. The third one is engage in self-care activities. Really important. So engage in activities that help you reconnect with you. It might include practices like meditation. Maybe you're into yoga, which is really a really good form of exercise, stretching. And I cannot tell you how I miss one of the types of yoga I used to do a lot was the yin yoga, I think it was called, where it was long stretches, periods of stretching. Sometimes it was uncomfortable, but at the end, I just felt so incredible. So, or maybe you like to spend time outside, at the park, or going for walks. Activities like this can help you feel more grounded and present, reducing feelings of emotional disconnection. You know, be a part of your life. Get involved, like be an active participant in your life. Don't just sit on the sidelines and just letting things happen to you. Number 4 is set small social goals. If you've been isolating yourself, start with small, manageable social goals. It could be as simple as meeting a friend for coffee or joining a virtual group discussion. Just gradually increasing your social interactions can help rebuild your sense of connection, get yourself out of there. Again, I really want you to ask for help. This is the one thing, is I think this is a part of like the social circles, the social gatherings, whether it's just with one person or several people virtually or in person, is going to really get that quality of, support that you, in this time, especially if you're going through emotional burnout, you really truly need it. Number 5 is practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness techniques can help you stay present and engaged in the moment. So things like deep breathing, mindful walking, which is another form of meditation, but you're walking, you're staying focused on your surroundings, staying grounded in the present moment of what you're experiencing rather than mindlessly walking and not noticing anything around you. In fact, I reminded myself of that today when I was out for my walk, when I was able to actually, there was a brief window of sun because we're going through a rainy period here in Florida. And I took a walk around my neighborhood, and I realized I started hearing something, and it was all the birds around me were just so many different birds talking. And so I turned off my podcast and I just walked and listened. And it was just so nice. And then I started looking around to see what was around me and started seeing the birds, not just hearing them, but seeing them. And then looking at the foliage around me, the plants that people were planting. It's beautiful. And so that was really important, having that mindful moment in my walk. Also, guided meditations can help you reconnect with your emotions and reduce feelings of being disconnected. So remember this, managing your emotional disconnections about taking small intentional steps to reconnect with yourself and others. And by acknowledging your feelings, reaching out for support and engaging in self-care moments, setting those social goals, practicing mindfulness, you can overcome emotional exhaustion and rebuild meaningful connections in your life. So before we wrap up today, I want to encourage you to take some time to reflect on your own experiences around emotional exhaustion. Here's a few questions to consider, and I'll make sure that I put them in the comments below after the video. The first one is around emotional awareness. Do you often feel emotionally disconnected from your loved ones or yourself? What situations or interactions tend to trigger this feeling? The second question is around reconnecting with others. So think about a time when you felt deeply connected with someone. What was different about that interaction? How can you create similar moments in your current relationships? And this is really about getting very intentional around the people that you surround yourself with, because you want to make sure that the people in your life are supportive. That we all have energy drainers. That's just a fact of life. And I'm not saying that you are cutting them off, but when you're going through moments like this, you really need people in your corner who support you. So finding those connections with people who you felt deeply connected with, support you, that is really important. The third one is around self-care. How frequently do you engage in activities that nurture your emotional well-being? Are there specific self-care practices that help you feel more connected and grounded? For me, I love meditation. I typically will engage in 5-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute guided meditations, depending on what I'm trying to achieve. There have been moments where I will do 5 minutes of, just mindfulness without anything and just being in silence. But most of the time, I love the guided meditation where someone's guiding me. So finding something that helps you to feel good about yourself is really important. The fourth one is, again, around social engagement. I've talked about it. Have you been avoiding social interactions due to feeling emotionally exhausted? What small steps can you take to gradually increase your social engagement and rebuild your connections? Again, community is so important. It's a self-care tool. People in your life to support you is really important. We're not meant to go through life alone. We are better together when we do life together. So don't isolate yourself. And if you find yourself doing that, even reaching out to one person, reach out to me. I'll help if you need support, message me saying I need support. The fifth one is mindfulness and presence. Are you practicing mindfulness or other techniques to stay present in the moment? Like I talked about mindful walking, which is a really great tool. I really love that. It was a great experience. How does being mindful impact your sense of emotional connection? So those are the questions. Again, I'll make sure to put them in the comments after the video ends, but I really encourage you to take some time to think about them and how they apply to your life. Reflecting on these questions can help you, excuse me, identify areas where you might need to make adjustments to better manage your emotional well-being, your time, right? How you're expending time um, with other people, like the time that you're spending with other people, especially those who are those energy drainers. You're really becoming mindful around that so that you can maintain those meaningful connections and have more quality of life. So, recognizing and addressing emotional exhaustion is really a crucial step towards maintaining your overall well-being. So again, it's really paying attention to the signs so that you don't find yourself what I will be talking about next week, which is the final stage of emotional burnout, of the emotional burnout phase, which is full-on burnout, emotional burnout. So if you have any questions about today's topic, you found this live video helpful, please feel free to message me. Your well-being is really important to me. That's why I'm doing this. And sometimes we just all need a little support to manage our emotional investments. So again, don't hesitate to reach out. Again, a reminder for you to take some time to reflect on what you've discussed today. Consider how it applies to your life. Go through those questions and really think about it. Remember, prioritizing your emotional health is key to living a more balanced and fulfilling life. So be gentle with yourself and stay committed to your well being. And as always, thank you so much for joining me today. I truly, truly appreciate you. And until next time, take care, and I'll see you again next week.